point is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your transformation. Every city has a boy who lives like a shadow, ignored by people, underestimated by society, and crushed by life before he even gets a chance to fight back. This stickman was one of them. He came from nothing, wore the same old clothes every day, and watched rich people live the life he secretly dreamed about. Every morning, he saw the girl he loved stepping out of luxury cars, smiling in a world he could never enter. And every day he felt smaller inside. He wanted to talk to her so many times, but poverty destroys confidence before words even leave your mouth. One day he finally gathered courage to walk toward her, but before he could even speak, people laughed at him, mocked his old clothes, mocked his empty pockets, and humiliated him in front of everyone. Phones came out. Strangers smiled at his embarrassment, and the rich boys, standing beside her, looked at him like he was nothing. That moment broke something inside him. He walked home under the rain, feeling completely defeated, and for the first time in his life, he truly hated himself. Days passed, and he stopped going outside. He locked himself in his dark room, laying awake at night while staring at the ceiling, watching other people succeed on social media while his own life stayed frozen. Everywhere he looked, people his age were moving ahead, buying cars, traveling the world, building businesses, living dreams he could not even afford to imagine. The pressure slowly crushed him. Money problems at home became worse. Family expectations became heavier. Loneliness became unbearable. Every day he felt like life was punishing him for being born poor. Sometimes he skipped meals, pretending he was not hungry, because he did not want his family to worry. Sometimes he smiled in front of others, while secretly fighting tears inside. And slowly, depression consumed him. He stopped believing in himself completely. One cold night, he stood alone on a rooftop, looking down at the city lights, wondering if anyone would care if he disappeared forever. Tears rolled down his face as painful thoughts filled his mind. He was not weak. He was exhausted. Exhausted from failing, exhausted from comparing himself to others, exhausted from carrying pain nobody could see. For a moment, he truly believed his story was over. But just before giving up, his phone screen lit up with a random motivational video. One sentence appeared on the screen: "Your current situation is not your final form." He stared at those words in silence. Again and again, he replayed them inside his head. Something deep inside him woke up that night. Instead of ending his life, he made a decision that would change everything. One final attempt. He promised himself that even if the world ignored him, he would no longer ignore his own potential. That night became the turning point of his entire life. He realized the world had changed. In the old days, only rich families had power, but in this new era, skills had become the new currency. Ordinary people were becoming successful through the internet, creativity, and consistency. So while others wasted time scrolling endlessly through social media, he disappeared into hard work. He borrowed an old laptop and started learning everything he could. Video editing, AI tools, content creation, marketing, storytelling, business psychology. He studied for hours every single night, while the rest of the city slept peacefully. Some nights his eyes burned from staring at screens for too long, but he kept learning. He watched free tutorials until sunrise. He practiced for months without getting paid. The beginning was brutal. His first videos failed completely. Nobody watched his content. Nobody supported him. Sometimes he spent 10 hours creating something that only got 10 views. Many nights he questioned whether all this effort was pointless. But this time he refused to quit. He remembered the rooftop. He remembered the pain. He remembered how hopeless he once felt. And that memory became fuel. Day after day, month after month, he kept improving quietly in the dark, while nobody noticed his struggle. Slowly, his skills started growing. His edits became sharper. His ideas became stronger. One small client hired him online, then another, then another. For the first time in his life, he earned money using his mind instead of his pain. The same boy who once counted coins to survive started making more money than he ever imagined possible. He bought new clothes for his parents before buying anything for himself. He fixed problems at home silently without telling anyone. Confidence slowly replaced fear. Discipline replaced sadness. The invisible stickman slowly became impossible to ignore. 1 year later, he walked into a luxury business event wearing confidence instead of insecurity. The same type of people who once laughed at him now stood up to shake his hand respectfully. They wanted advice from the boy they once mocked. They wanted connections with the person they once ignored. And then, across the room, he saw her again, the girl he once believed he could never have. But something inside him had changed. He no longer felt desperate for attention because success had taught him something powerful. Self-worth is more valuable than validation. She smiled at him differently this time, but the greatest victory was not winning her attention. The greatest victory was becoming someone he himself could finally respect. Later that night, he returned to the same rooftop where he once almost gave up on life. But this time the city looked different. The pain that once destroyed him had transformed him into someone stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. He realized that life changes when you stop waiting for miracles and start building yourself every single day. The boy everyone ignored became the man everyone respected. Not because life became easier, but because he refused to surrender during the darkest chapter of his life. And maybe that is the truth most people never understand. Sometimes the pain you are surviving today is secretly preparing you for the life you prayed for tomorrow. Sometimes being ignored is the beginning of becoming unforgettable. Sometimes the person crying alone today becomes the person inspiring millions tomorrow. And sometimes your lowest point is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your transformation.